Hey everybody, how's it going? And welcome back to Copper Jacket TV. So this has got to be one of the greatest things that I have seen all year long. You guys read that title right. The state of California and the California DOJ owes the FPC nearly $250,000. You guys don't want to miss this story. Let's talk about how and why. Now, before we get started, I want to tell you a little bit about today's sponsor, which is Delete Me. Delete Me is an amazing service that will allow you to get your online privacy back. Believe it or not, there are data brokerage sites out there whose sole focus it is to gather, sell, and distribute your personal data. So what is Delete Me and how does it help? Well, Delete Me is a company that cares about your personal privacy. And so what they do is they collect your information and they scour the internet and search those data brokerage sites to remove your personal information. Now, I personally have a Delete Me account. As a matter of fact, I've been using their services since December of 2023. And in that time, they have scanned 111,056 listings and removed my information from 44 different brokers. Now, one of my favorite things to do with my Delete Me account is actually check out the online dashboard. From there, you will find all of the relevant information that you need, from the number of listings that were scanned, how many times your information popped up on a data brokerage site, what type of information popped up, from your age, your address, your name. It will break everything down for you so that you can see how Delete Me is working effectively for you. So if your online privacy is important to you like it is to me, make sure you join Delete Me. You can use the link down below to save 20% or use the discount code COPPERJACKET. Okay, so let's go and talk about why the California Department of Justice is buying nearly 10,000 FPC memberships. I think the FPC charges about $25 for a membership, and the California Department of Justice is paying them $244,399. Well, there's a little case that I want to talk to you guys about that the FPC got a pretty good win in. It's a case called Linton v. Bonta, which is a case that challenges California's messed up law that essentially treats somebody like a felon who had their felony overturned, vacated, or dismissed in another state. So for instance, we have two plaintiffs in this case, Linton v. Bonta. One plaintiff from Arizona, one plaintiff from Texas. They both had felony convictions. Both were dismissed, overturned, or vacated. They no longer exist, right? They later on then moved to the state of California, where the state of California essentially treated them as if they were still felons and they were no longer allowed to practice their Second Amendment rights. Well, that case went through the court system and the FPC ended up getting a major victory in that case. Now, it was just for the two plaintiffs, but the good news is that that's still precedent, right? For any future lawsuits that might get brought up by anybody else that has this situation in the state of California. So again, that case set the precedent. So that was a very big win. But as you know, California loves to appeal. And I think that's why so many of us are so jaded when we hear about a win in California, because we know California is going to appeal. It's going to go up to the higher court. The higher court is going to grant the appeal, and then they're going to dingle around with it for the next 5 years before we get any type of solid resolution, if we ever do. I mean, these things take absolutely forever. But for some reason, in this case, California did not appeal. They basically just abandoned the case and let the decision stand. And so that's it. That is the final decision in this case. The decision was made in favor of the plaintiffs. And so that was great, right? Well, the FPC decided to take it to the next level and asked the court to force the California Department of Justice to pay their fees. Fees totaling $244,399 and some change, and the court granted it. Now, obviously, this is going to come out of the taxpayer's pocket, right? Now, I would much rather see Rob Bonta have to pay up the money himself, but again, the California DOJ is funded by taxpayer dollars, so that's taxpayer dollars. But I can't think of a better way to spend your taxpayer dollars than to go directly to a group that is there whose sole purpose is protecting your fundamental freedoms, your constitutional rights. And so instead of it going to research groups of gun violence prevention and state colleges, or, going to study new gun control laws or red flags or whatever it is that California does with that money, instead, that money is now going to be diverted to protecting your rights. And I absolutely love that they have to pay that huge sum, nearly $250,000, to one of the greatest groups in California, the FPC, who has done a ton to restore rights for people there. Now, obviously, there's a lot of stuff that's being held up at the Ninth Circuit right now because of Duncan. We have multiple cases that are waiting on Duncan, like Miller and so forth. But there's a lot that's going to be happening very soon in the state of California, and there's a lot of FPC behind it. So again, I just thought it was fantastic. I thought it was absolutely funny. And if you take a look at the X account for FPC, you'll see this image right here, which kind of tells you how they feel about it. I thought that was fantastic as well. So again, the California Department of Justice essentially is buying nearly 10,000 annual memberships to the FPC, and I love it. So I wanted to share that with you guys. Just kind of a feel-good, laugh-along story. Nice to see the California Department of Justice actually have to pony up here to a good group instead of, one of these research groups. So again, I want to thank you all very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please like, subscribe, and you guys have a great day.